Well, hey everybody, here's a complete shower thought that I just had. I recently watched, you're going to see in the background my totally dirty apartment and bedroom, by the way. I'm too busy doing stand-up comedy. What? Anyway, I had a shower thought that I wanted to share with everybody about Sargon of Akkad's breakdown of the alt-right. And I thought this was rather fascinating because I think he's correct in that we have a reactionary right that is able to talk about race and talk about a kind of almost ethnically based at a certain level nationalism because the left has opened the door to this kind of other strange, separate but equal conversation that they're recognizing that people are different, and then they're saying that those differences are essentialized at the level of culture, and that those cultures need to be treated differently in order to be treated, in order to have equal outcome, which is a really quick and dirty way of summarizing their arguments, but it's true. And I think that is really fascinating. The thing that is very fascinating about it is that is coupled with so first of all, Sam Harris is right when he says that because liberals are not talking about certain issues that have to do with factual evidence related to cultural differences and how that applies to race, so to speak, the reactionary right and people who don't have a nuanced view, maybe, of or a sensitive view are left to decide sort of the contours of the argument. Hopefully that was not too poorly communicated, what I just said. But the reason that I think that this is also the case is that the liberal, potentially regressive left, if you will, is starkly threatening to anyone who questions it from the inside. It's almost like a dogmatic appeal, like a religious defense to blasphemy or something. Here's why I know that. I run this channel, of course, The Madness Continues, and I like to try to interview people who I disagree with or interview different types of people from time to time. There's only a couple of them online, but it's something that I like to try to do. Recently, I talked to a comedian friend who is a college student here in Chicago, and he expressed some interest about this issue, and I expressed some interest in trying to have someone who's a college student because of Sam Harris's recent interview, I forget with who, but I'll link it in the notes here, expressing the fact that if you haven't been on a college campus since 2013, you have absolutely no idea how culturally sensitive and progressive it's gotten, full of social justice warriors and these types of people. I haven't been on a college campus since that period of time, so I didn't believe it. So I wanted to ask someone who was, and he did express interest in doing the interview, but he said on the condition that he would remain anonymous in the interview, that he was genuinely so afraid to attach his name to any critique of his peers in terms of critiquing their social justice warriorness or their progressivism or pointing out flaws in the logic of their progressivism. He was so afraid that would follow him for the rest of his career that he was like, look, I just don't want, like, if anybody knows that I'm questioning them, it could ruin my career, certainly ruin my peer group. That's the kind of pressure that allows people or prevents people who actually care about it from opening their mouths and contributing to the conversation. The people who don't care about the opinions of their peers, people who like racists, like actual racists, or actual National Socialists, or actual fascists, people who are the KKK's numbers are rising, for example. People like that, people who don't care that you point at them and call them a racist or a Nazi, they're the ones who are left to have this discussion on the opposite side because the center of it has gotten so hostile to anyone who is on the same side. I expect this video will probably cause that kind of dissent amongst the 8 people who watch it. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not sure what to do to turn the volume down on it in terms of the emotional temperature of the debate, but I hope somebody comes up with an idea soon. I will say that I think it's good that Sargon of Akkad is trying to put a stop to social justice on campuses until such a time that it can be properly investigated to make sure that the claims that they're making are corresponding factually to reality. I think that whether or not it stops any activism or ideology of activism, I think pumping the brakes is probably a good idea, just to have some space. Anyway, meanwhile, the madness continues. Take it easy.